What's up, guys? So gold at 2070, amazing, absolutely amazing. Obviously, we have been to 2080 before. I'm talking about spot here, but the close, it's all about the close. This is the best daily close in a long time. It's the best weekly close probably ever. Actually, daily close also. It's really we're breaching quite a few records here. It was the best monthly close. Thursday obviously was the end of the month, wasn't it? Or Wednesday, but it was the best monthly close because we've never even closed on a monthly basis above 2000. So I mean, look, the monthly, look at those candles. That's amazing. Yeah, small retracement could happen, but you know where it's going. Monthly is great. Weekly is probably the best looking candles. I mean, look at this opening up at resistance pretty much 2010 and closing at next resistance, which is pretty much 2080. I mean, I thought 2050, yeah, 2050 was resistance for 1 or 2 days, but we're already at 2080. I didn't expect it to be that fast. Obviously, the Fed, the whole world is, well, people are starting to price in Fed rate cuts now. So the rate hikes are over, so to speak. They could come back. What if inflation makes a comeback, which it will, especially as the dollar drops, inflation is more easily visible. So don't discount the possibility that in a few months from now, probably not immediately, inflation starts to scare people and then they start to think the Fed's going to do a surprise hike. So, but that's far from what's on the radar right now. What's on the radar right now is gold is making new highs. Gold is probably next week probably going to hit 2,100. We could have a small retracement, but I mean 2,100 to me is absolutely inevitable. Not even inevitable, just imminent. And once we hit 2,100, I think that's psychologically just, that's going to get the attention of a lot of people who don't usually cover gold. And you're going to start to see a lot more, maybe people allocating to gold or starting to buy its momentum chasers. And I do actually think that silver, let me jump to silver because gold, we know, we follow gold. This is pretty much quadruple tops. I mean, triple tops are rare, but quadruple cup and handle within a cup and handle. This is going to go up. This is going to squeeze, actually. You could go in 2,100. And then before you know it, 3 days later or 13 days later, doesn't matter, you're at 2,200. And then you think, oh, Jesus, that's it. Like that's it. I can't wait to get the opportunity to buy 2,000. 2,000 will be a great buy at that point. So I think we are forming support at 2,000 by breaching here. Let's go quickly to silver because this is the portfolio update. I don't want to spend too long covering the metals, even though it's fundamentally about the metals. Look at silver. This is the weekly candles. 20. Let me go to daily. 25 was resistance. That was the target. You could see there was one day of hesitation, a bit like 2,050 on gold. And we just kept going. Next stop 26. 26 was the one that was very hard to take out last time. Remember, we had this sort of, oops, what am I doing? Very, very significant descending that I've since removed. I think it was here, was it? It was here. We breached that, went high, but we didn't have any follow through. We needed that follow through at 26, and it never happened from there. It broke down. You can see all these old trend lines I had. I used to have the descending. The descending is always my favorite one. Actually, sorry, what am I talking about? This one. Let's look at this descending. Yeah, look at this one here. We're breaking out of that. So it's all about 26. And really, what I really want to see, let me get rid of this because this is breached anyway. I really want to see a close above this high from last time, this bit here. Once we have that, then it really is squeezy. 26 and squeezing, like bam, 7, 8, 9, 30, then big retracement back down to 27 or whatever it is. We'll see. But for me, what if gold at 2,100? Silver needs some serious catching up to do. And this is a catch-up market. Silver, I can see it catching up on some days. Just like the GDXJ, I can see it catching up with the GDX on some days. It's going to happen more than it's not. Let's look at the dollar, because it's all about the dollar. I made a video, was it on this day? Was it Wednesday or Thursday morning? Where I said, look, the dollar's going to, go up a bit more, but expect it to meet resistance where it fell from. And that's exactly what happened. And actually on this day, DXY was up 0.75%. Yeah. And then I noticed that gold was already firm. It was steady. It was like not even that red. And I just thought, wow, the DXY has made a huge move. Normally the metals would be down a lot because they moved up a lot, right? The DXY has come down a lot, but they didn't. Gold and silver were not down that much. I mean, I remember thinking, gold could come back down to, for example, so Gold had made this huge move up here, 2050. I thought, okay, so absolute support should be down here, 2010, because I knew the DXY was going to pump a bit. I said, but otherwise, you could have another scenario where it doesn't. The bid is early. And that's exactly what happened. We had very small retracement on those days where DXY was up a lot. And also, I could already see gold picking up steam very quickly at the high of the DXY when the DXY started to fade. I thought, wow, we're really going to be strong here for a bit more. And then there you go. Next thing that happens is we just absolutely squeeze high on Friday and we're hitting the absolute historic high. So for me, the DXY, because we've spoken about gold and silver, I think they're basically going up. Gold's going to go to 2,100, retrace a bit, and silver's going to start catching up 26. But if we look at the DXY, let's just stay with it. I think we're going to go to 102. I mean, look at this rejection also. So, we'll come back down, low 102 point, like the old lows, 102.5. We'll probably find a bit of support. And then there'll be a fake rally and basically we're going to go down to 102. And I think when that happens, you're going to have gold 2,100. And remember, DXY, all of this rate hike stuff this was a fake flush. Now it's rate pause. And oh, by the way, maybe rate drop, a lowering of rates. So I do think there may be a rate increase later, like a surprise one, because inflation picks up, because inflation's been kept at bay by the strong dollar. As the dollar gets weak, inflation starts to look worse, and that could, bring back the circular arguments that, a rate hike is necessary. But that's far from where we are now. I actually think the DXY will come back down to the lows, have a weak bounce, and then flush to 102. And when we get to 102, we can see gold at 2,100, which is crazy, but it's only $20 away, so we're pretty much there already. Very bullish gold and silver. Let's look at the miners, because it's all about the miners. That's where the money is really made. You'd expect them to be higher sometimes in terms of percentage points, because gold was up like almost 2% itself. So the miners should be really up 4 or 5%. But look at the close. Perfect. By the way, look at the weekly candle. Incredible. Opens, actually gaps open, but look at the close of last Friday. It was at the resistance, because I marked the resistance perfectly, if I can say that. It just opens and closes just above resistance at high of day. This suggests more is coming. If the market was open for longer, we'd be higher. So GDXJ, I expect the next resistance to be 42-ish. And I expect another candle to touch that. I know it sounds crazy, but I think there has a lot of catching up to do, and I think gold will hit 2,100, and I think that's not that much to ask. What's that, like 5% or something? 5, 6, 7%, no problem. In a week, no problem. You could do that in a day, to be honest. If gold's at 2,100, let's look at GDX. Another perfect example. This one actually was underperforming the GDXJ, which is good. That's bullish. So it opens still below its resistance, but otherwise closed at high of day. The week that is closed at the resistance, pretty much absolutely at resistance. So look, very, very strong week for both. Perfect candles, more to come. That's all I'm going to say. I can look at the daily chart, but look, it's just a representation of all 5 days. It's perfect. Just the whole channel has been covered. We crossed the channel and it's perfect. It's not like one massive candle that's going to retrace. It's just one massive candle and just flagging up, no real retracement. There was that 2050 on gold and up it goes. So I think we're going to go higher. And to be honest, we could start to squeeze, because zoom out, where are we? Zoom out even more. This is a 2011 high. GDX is half where it should be. It's literally 100% away from its old high. And remember, that's when gold was at 1,900. We're at 2,100. So it needs to go up more than 110%. So asking for a small 5% in the week is absolutely asking too little. So let's see. I really expect, that's what I said last week during my last portfolio update. I said, we need this move here. It needs to happen, and it happened. So that's the beauty. I think there's more of this to come. Let's look at the actual portfolio, because that's what most people like me to cover, the actual portfolio. So Newmont, good old Newmont. I remember covering it. I think it was here-ish, Friday, last Friday here. And I was thinking, okay, we closed outside the descending. We need to go all the way to 41. And it sounded like a big ask. And I remember thinking it's a big ask. Should I even be mentioning the words 41 when we're down here at 30, below 38? And there we are. We closed above resistance, above 41. And to be honest, the next stop is 44, which is probably a smaller percentage move than the one we just made for the week. We closed above resistance. For me, this is absolutely doable. And if we do, we're going to be hitting descending resistance. So there should be some resistance around 44. You can tell there's two lines, right? There'll be the descending and this horizontal. But look, zoom out. And this is not some crappy stock. You know, this is Newmont. This is probably the #1 in the whole mining world. So this is not asking a lot at all. In fact, this is asking less than 10%. So what is it, like 7% move from where we are to where we need to go? Yeah, it's exactly 7. So we could easily close above it. We just need obviously gold to hit 2100, I think. But honestly, just with gold where it is, if it just held where it is, Newmont has all the excuse it needs to go a lot higher. So there you go. I'm not going to be covering support in this because I'm not even like, I didn't even sell. I nibbled the smallest amounts out of I'll cover them. Did I sell Newmont? I must have sold the smallest amount if I did. But I'm really like, my sells, I've moved them a lot higher some time ago because I realized where we are and how much higher these need to go, and I'm not up for selling pennies. I did buy, you know, down here, so I like to just quickly flip in case it comes down, but I'm not interested anymore. I'm really looking for the big moves. And for the same reason, I'm not really covering support because I don't think we'll come down. And if we do, I think I'll have time to adjust myself. Like support is 35, or it's going to be the descending retest, or the break from this week, 38. But I'm not going to buy back. And I will buy back. It's just I don't see us coming down, basically. So in this video, I'm just going to cover the moves up. So Newmont, 44 is the next stop. After that is this horizontal, by the way, 46, it could happen. And then after that, it's probably 50, big round number, and then this candle high here. So that's Newmont. Barrick Gold, look at that, very nice. You know, took out this little 17 zone and pretty much hit 18. So next resistance, we're there now. So obviously 18, need to close above 18 psychologically, as well as covering this horizontal one here. And then this gap will be irrelevant. I think as soon as we close above 18, we're going to, well, that's where the gap starts, to be honest. And the next up is 20, big round number. A big round number. So 18, then 20. There you go. And then when you hit 20, by the way, you're probably almost starting to create, coincide with this descending resistance. So 20 should be big resistance. I mean, slightly bigger resistance. And probably bigger than Newmont at 44. So that's Barrick Gold. We need this channel crossed, a bit like Newmont crossed the one it just did. So Agnico-Eagle also closing at resistance, let's say. Needs to go a bit higher. Next for me is this 57. You see where these two candles are here? Although when we get there, we're probably already testing this. I'm going to say 57, although that seems quite near. If we look at that, that's 5%. You could do that in one nice day or maybe 2 days. So and look, zoom out, keep perspective. This is the best stop there is, I think, when it comes to miners. 57, yeah, but otherwise 60. Yeah, I'm starting to look at these big numbers a bit more. It's like gold, Barrick Gold, 20. Agnico-Eagle, 60. Newmont, well, yeah, 50 would be big, but okay, there it doesn't really have a very big, obvious nearby zone. All right, let's look at Pan American Silver. This one I added to. I had an automatic sell in, I think, here, and then I bought it back and some. For me, Pan American, I added to it. It's actually my heaviest holding now. It's heavier than Newmont. It's Pan America, then Newmont, then Agnico, then gold. I should really rearrange it. I might do that. But after this video. So Pan American Silver looks amazing. This is very, very much undervalued. I mean, this deserves to be way higher. I think when silver starts to pick up a pace, you know, let's say when gold hits 2100, silver's at 26, looking for 27. The stocks like Pan America, at First Majestic, all the silver stocks are just going to really make up a lot of ground. So look at this, close at high of day, closes above resistance at 16. Next resistance is just under 17, I would say. Let's just say 17 for now, but you know, it's probably 1679 or something if I had to sell. And I need to go through my broker to make sure all my good till cancels are just eliminated. Normally I regret that because they're usually well placed. Really, technically, I really get sometimes the high of day very often. And if I don't, the next day it's way below my sell. So I usually regret when I emotionally remove my sells, my good till cancel sells that I've placed soberly after lots of thought. But here I really think, screw it. Let's go for the big win. Let's go for a bigger move. And Pan American Silver, you can see that's what I thought because I actually added to it where I would have normally sold. So next resistance is 17-ish. After that, this should be a bigger one. It's 18.5. Why do I say that? Because it was the high of this period here, but also by the time we get there, not just price, but by the time we get there, we coincide with this descending. And you can see that should be a little significant, but we just took out this descending. So that should take us to the next one, 1850. So next stop 17, then 1850, then some sideways consolidation, then pop to, well, I'm going to say 20, but it'll probably fail just below 20. 1979 is probably resistance. So another big round number, 20, that should soon appear for Pan American Silver. Wheaton, the one that I said I would sell and put into others. Well, I did start to do that. I actually, instead of selling and buying, I actually bought first and then sold. So I added to Pan America, I added to EXK, and I added to, there was another one I added to, which escapes me. I think it's First Majestic. First Majestic, that's it, which I'll get to in a second. And I thought, all right, but I'll sell Wheaton later. And I actually sold Wheaton on Friday, pretty much a high of day, just because I added more than what I sold. So I still own a bit of Wheaton. I intend to sell it when we get to 52-ish, let's say, the next real resistance. So we could have this ascending resistance, but I'm just going to hit the horizontal 52, like 51.99, simple. I'll just probably close the whole position, even though I think it's going higher. It's just because I'll have too much allocated to the sector probably at that point, because I bought first and now I need to sell. So it's just risk management stuff. So Wheaton, look at this candle, by the way, very nice candle. Hits the support, prior resistance, makes it support, and then close at high of day. It just seems like it's going to go to 51, maybe 52, and in my opinion, 52, which is where I'll sell it. So Wheaton, the defensive one, and up 1% or something on the day, 1.5%, not that much. It started to underperform the others, which is why I want to transition its proceeds into others. But, there are some that go down. Look, Agnico-Eagle underperformed, Barrick Gold underperformed. So it's not always the weakest. And to be honest, it's done a very good job, and it's beaten most in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, especially when everything was going down. So it's done its job, and now I just want to move all the proceeds and disperse them into the others, namely the top sort of 6 or 7 that you see here. Also missing CDE and Discovery Silver, which I'll get to in a second. So next up 52, but I think 51, then 52, but I think I'll be out by then. I just don't see it rising as much as the others. 5% is quite a bit for Wheaton, so I'll try and catch the top, the intermediary top. First Majestic, this is the one that I bought the day before on Thursday, and look what it did on Friday, right? Up 5%. So already you can see transitioning from Wheaton to First Majestic is paying off. But anyway, this is something that will last for weeks, so I'm not going to judge it on one day. But look, I was talking about First Majestic. We took out the descending. We just needed to go and close above 6. We did that. We did that on Thursday. Did we not do that on Thursday? We almost did it on Thursday. No, we didn't. We've done it as of today, Friday, even though I'm recording this on Saturday. And that's a good way to close above 6 because it's convincingly above 6, 625. Next stop, 640. Very, very mini pit stop. We'll touch it. We'll just go sideways, see what happens with the sector. Obviously, if it's a red day or the DXY is up for whatever reason, we could be retesting 6. But I think the damage is done. I think First Majestic is ready to squeeze now. I think the only excuse, the perfect catalyst for that, even though it seems to be working on its own now, would be for gold to hit 2100, would be for silver to test 26. And, this is some marginal leverage here on the price. I think these, not just First Majestic, but quite a few of them, especially the silver boys, are ready to squeeze, and this close at high of day is perfect. So 640, next stop 7, next stop 8, next stop 850, maybe probably not. There's probably a massive squeeze going on by then. maybe from 8 to 9. 850 could be a pit stop. You can see why, or 840. But first, Majestic, zoom out. You know, this is a big silver stock. This is a big name. This is one of the stocks, I think that the number one stock to have been chosen for the silver squeeze when that happened a long time ago. And I was in it. And I was selling this, by the way. I had all my good till cancels that were working outside of regular hours. That was great, even though I thought it was going to keep going. And I wanted to remove my sells. They're the one things I didn't regret. So I think we're ready to run. Nothing left to say. I've covered this repeatedly. You know, bought the absolute lows on the bad news flush, on the retest with the whole sector going down, and I'm ready to, well, I was going to say sell the moves up, but I don't think I'm going to sell early moves. I think I'll have to really sell, you know, I don't know, my first sell, like maybe 7, because they're going to be worth a lot very quickly. These don't look like big moves when they go from 6 to 7, but, you know, I've got quite a lot of allocation to these ones. So once you're up at 8, 25% move in one stock, well, I've got like 20 of these stocks and there's quite a lot in them. And, you know, it's risk management. As much as I believe in the sector and all that and want to make money, I don't want to lose money. And I always got to think of the worst case scenario. So if this starts to move and start to make a lot of money, I will be trimming on the way up. But I'm just not doing the quick flips anymore. And evidently, I actually bought Thursday. So if I bought Thursday, I'm not going to be selling too soon. Okay, let's look at Fortuna. Fortuna, which is one of the better ones. I'm just bringing up my old log. Okay, look at this beautiful candle here on Fortuna. This is really nice stuff. So it's really the next step. I think the next resistance is 420. 4 used to be, I did accidentally sell at 4. I had all my old good till cancels, but this is such light trimming. You have no idea. It's more for psychological reasons. Next up, 420. I think I've also got a good till cancel sell there, but I may get rid of it, but it's so small. It's like the amount of money I make from, let's say, from 404 to 420 is the amount I'm going to trim. It's so small. It's just like psychological. So that if it goes down, it's something to look forward to. It's also just good for the sidelines, and it's also just to in practice act upon these lines that I have, you know. Anyway, 420 first step. Next is 460, I think. 450, 460, 450, just be safe. But this one's been acting very, very well. It's also had good news recently. Remember, had its bad news here, bad news, flushed it. It went down, not too much. Tagged support. It's really perfect technically. Broke through. This descending kind of acted as resistance for 3 days. You know, this day closed. It popped its head above it, but closed just within it. Next day it was a retest. Next day was another retest where the close proved that it counted. I like that. And then it went all the way up to, in my opinion, what resistance, like 390, but it was actually around $4. That's what I sold. And here we go, 420. So then 460. If we keep squeezing, and this is one of the candidates, if silver starts to run, just like First Majestic, just like Pan American Silver, this one is a candidate to run. You know, 450 squeeze. It has good news behind it. It's got really a chart that's undervalued massively. It's got the name Silver in it, and it's a well-recognized name. It's very established. So this one also is a squeeze candidate, even though it's had a pretty good run the last couple of days. So there you go, 420, 450-ish. Then 5, by the way, doesn't look like resistance. 550, and then from there we enter the old era, let's say. I haven't even looked at that yet. Okay, EXK. This is the most disappointing one. It remains the most disappointing one, but I actually added to it. I just feel like even though it's not really acting that well, I mean, look at this move. You know where we are. 2,100, silver squeezing. Well, not yet, but and all we can muster is this ridiculous move. I think this is just going to go up purely based on sympathy. People are going to be looking for stocks with silver in the name that haven't moved up much. And I don't think the stock is that bad. The company is that bad. I'm just, you know, I recognize the weakness that has lasted for some time, which suggests there's something wrong with it. So it's the weakest holding because I haven't added that much to it, and I've sold into it and not bought back what I've sold. So yeah, it's my weakest one. So I don't mind that it's the weak, but I do expect it to go up. So that little ad that I did on Friday, Thursday, Friday, I think should pay off. I think we should at least be moving to the next clear resistance is 280 for me. A little bit at 260 maybe, but you know, come on, let's make more ground up here. So 280 for me is the XK, the next resistance. Okay, now I get to my favorite one, Couer Mining. Sorry, they changed their name, I think. Close the high of day. Spectacular move off the bottom. I mean, this is really from under 2, and I bought that, by the way, all the way up to 3 something. So 320, let's say we're above 50% move in 2-3 weeks. I think 330 is the next real resistance. This is the one I've known for a long time. I remember this zone. It's like failing to get, there was support and then it was resistance. So let's see if we can close above 340. I don't think we'll do that straight away, but that's the next resistance. After that, it's really 430. I don't even think $4 is resistance really. So 330, 430, and then that little 460 high, and then we can get back to the old 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 zone. Wow. Imagine, I mean, this one, the value of my stock is just, it goes up so fast, it always surprises me. And look at this move here from 2016. This is absolutely ridiculous. From under 2 all the way up to almost 20. That's just amazing. And gold and silver even higher now, aren't they? So there you go, 330, then 430 with a big no man's land here. Maybe a pit stop at $4. Obviously, I'm not discussing support in this video, but otherwise it'd be 280. But just look how quickly it went back to 280 after going below 2. Really, really impressive. This one, not the best company, but you know, the margins, like when silver starts to move up, you really, yeah, you see it reflected in the stock price. Let me go to my other similar stock, Discovery. You remember me talking about this one, saying we needed to move up on last Friday. Where was on last Friday here? I was talking about how good the candle was. I mean, I was talking about how the candle, where was it? Yeah, here you go. There was that Thanksgiving that ruined the calculations a bit, but you know, I expected it to be near 54, 53. I said, okay, look, fair enough. It closed a high of day there on that Friday. And look what's happened since, from 49, basically, just under 50, all the way up to 70. Huge move, huge move. If I zoom out, by the way, of the stock, look, it's pretty much had a 40% move this week. And it's one of the stocks that used to be worth the most when it was over here. And I stopped adding to it, and it just, you know, it wasn't worth as much. So I wasn't as worried. But I said, once this starts to move, it starts to be worth a lot very quickly. And Discovery Silver, just like Coeur d'Alene or Coeur Mining, the one I just looked at, CDE, those two are now my highest ranked silver stocks after my seniors. My seniors are worth more still. But they're worth, the value that they go up in is just really impressive. I mean, 40% move in a week. You know, and look, close the high of day. And by the way, I trimmed some too. I had some good till cancels that got filled even higher than where my sell was. I love it when that happens. I think I was trying to sell this descending, yeah, 59, and then I had a 68. I had a sell at 68 that connected at the beginning of the day, even though it didn't register on my I have interactive brokers. I couldn't even see it on the chart, but apparently I sold at 68 or 68.25. It's just, I don't know. Someone did me a favor there, but no more sells, because even though it's worth a crazy amount, I can see the squeezes in. This is a squeeze candidate. For me, it's Discovery, it's Coeur d'Alene, it's Fortuna, and it's First Majestic. EXK, I'm going to leave out of it. But I think I own a lot of the squeeze candidates, and their chart looks really good. So even if they don't squeeze, they're going to move up nicely. But this one, as soon as we can close above 70, honestly, normally I would say this zone would be next resistance, but it's starting to look really squeezy. Look at this. Descending, closed above it. This week, by the way, this is the week that it was closed above. So next up, $1. $1. Let's close above 70. Yes, it won't go up in a straight line. Yes, we'll have some pit stops. We may even have retracements in the metal itself and the sector, but realistically, I think we're going to $1 and higher after that. Of course, I mean, we should be at 3 if silver starts to squeeze with gold at 2,100. So this one, I'm wary of selling. I just don't want to sell too soon. So when I do sell, they're very light, because I recognize that this could be, you know, in 15 months from now, trading at $2. So who the hell cares about selling at 70 cents? So they're very light sells, and they're mainly psychological. Right. That takes care of the senior stocks and the silver stocks. Let me move on to the more miscellaneous ones, including the subscriber requests. First of all, my own Aris mining. This one actually had its best days before Friday, Thursday. It was really here. I had good till cancels in, so that was good. This one, remember the last close? I think it was here on Friday. Yes, it was. I remember making the video saying, look at this, beautiful, took out its horizontal. It's going to move to 3 or even higher, and it did exactly that. Look at this, 310. You can see 3 wasn't resistance. It went to 310, closed just below it. Perfect sells there. This is when I was still selling. I wasn't too sure. My good till cancels were still in. And then look at this, the next day, bam, all the way up. Technically perfect. Continues to be technically perfect. 340. My sales were in there, so I sold that. And next time I visited it the next day, I didn't sell anything because I already sold that area. And then it went down back to the old support. Perfect technicals again. And now, honestly, I think it's just going to revisit 340, squeeze all the way up to 360. And then we'll see, because normally it should continue, but then that's just doing way too much, way too fast. So maybe it'll just get a bit tired around here and hover around 360, 340 at best, waiting for confirmation from the sector. But this has already done a spectacular move, so that's why it didn't continue to close at higher days. But I've done my selling in this, and I'm just happy holding until, honestly, next I may just trim a tiny bit 360 and then just leave it for a big move past 450, 470, all the highs over here. And then we'll see. This again, another stock that moved way too fast, way too high, more than I thought, but at least I had my good till cancels in. So very, very good stock. Very happy for that. Mag Silver, one that I've been disappointed in for a while, even though I had decent news some weeks ago now. Close the high of day. I didn't sell any of this. This needs to go way higher. For me, it's going to hit the descending. 13 is probably going to coincide perfectly with the number 13, actually. 13, then a bit sideways. Then for me, it was 13.5 that I really saw as resistance. But zooming out now, this descending, I think 13 is going to be the real resistance. And after we close above 13, which may coincide with around 1330-ish, then we start our move to 17. Come on, let's make up some ground. It had good news. It's been smashed in the face, but now we're starting to outperform and take out some decent descending technicals. So I'm going to say 13 is next resistance. After that, I mean, pit stop at 1350, then maybe a little bit of 14, just below 16, but really 17 is the big resistance. So let's make up some more ground. Next one, Gogold, GLGDF. I'm always doing the American OTC. I'm not doing the Canadian ones because I like my American-based currency. This one also, look at that, close a high of day, finally took out $1, right? That's what I was saying on Friday. I said we need $1. And look where was that last Friday? It was there. I was, yeah, that's pathetic. I said we need $1. Bam, 2-3 trading days later, we close above $1, and now we're running, right? It's a break and run. So 110, next stop is really 113, which is the same as where we are now, 110. So we just need to close above that. And really, for me, it's this high here. Failed it there, failed it there. It was also support here and support here. So let's just call that 130. So 130 is the level to close above. And if you do that, you've taken out this descending, this one here. So maybe that is a little bit of resistance before you hit 130. It depends when you get there. Forget 113, 114. That's done on Monday probably. But once we close above this, it's all about 130. So 130 is the zone to break. After that, you can really run all the way up to 170. And this one won't really matter, in my opinion. So that's Gogold. Next one, K92. Another one where I said, come on, hurry up. We need to run all the way to 6. And I knew it was, well, I thought it was asking a lot, but look at that. 2 days later, just like Gogold, we're hitting 6. Now we've closed above it. Look at that, close a high day on Friday. Perfectly matching the sector. Next stop is 660. You can see why. Failed on this big move, failed on the next big move. So let's close above, not just 660, but above this high here, just to be sure. Let's say 670. Screw that, 670. Now, once we get to 670, you're basically 10 cents away from this descending resistance here. So we might as well say 680. And to be honest, we might as well say 7. So how about Next resistance is really, I'm going to say, between 670 and 7. I know I'm covering a wide range there. It's just they're 10 seconds, 10 cents away each time. So, and it's probably not that much of an ask. I mean, once you're at 670, how much of a move is it to 7? It's 4%, whatever. You can do that. You can do that in one day. So once you close above 7, then you can really run to 820, then 890, and then we're talking about $10. So we still haven't broken out of this descending. That's the problem. But otherwise, let's give it credit for what it's done this week. It's quite decent. Metalla, the last of the stocks that I hold, it had a big run before the others, so it got a bit exhausted. But look, you can see it curling and going back up. So, and it's obvious resistance for me, 340, very obvious. You can see it's been resistance for several days. So let's close above, I want to say 350, just to really guarantee that the breakout's in place, because then you've taken out all of the latest candles, definitely, and this descending, and you basically saying, okay, now you can run to 4. So I think once it closes above 350, 2 days later, you're at $4. And, this is a very good company, very well known, and it's absolutely been slaughtered. So I don't think that's asking much for $4. In fact, it should be at 450. The same week it goes and tests 4, it may even just go past 4 and run to 450. So for me, Metalla next stop really is taking out this 340, let's say, and then it's 4 and higher. So it looks very good. Just didn't outperform the others because it made a big move earlier than the others. Let's look at subscriber requests now. Eldorado, this one, my God, such a good stock. I mean, it had a good run before the others, and technically it did very well. It's like broke out this descending, tested this high, retest support, goes back here. Now this was double resistance. You can see actually it did respect that big drop there, closed just below the descending resistance, then kept going, tested here. I didn't even know if it really cared about $12. For me, that's an obvious resistance because it failed there last time. Went straight through 1250, didn't care about that because now it's really broken out. And to be honest, it's still going, and it's closed at a high of days at 1350. Amazing. Next resistance should be really 1450. And it should stop there a little bit. Depends what's going on in the sector, but it should really find resistance there because that's the last resistance until 18. I see nothing there. I mean, I might as well draw that in there. Let's just go on and use this for good measure. 40, and after that, all the way up to 18, maybe even higher, maybe even 19. And if you zoom out, look, stock can go way higher. So well done. This is an amazing run, really. I mean, you're not really going to get any drops in this. I don't see any drops in the whole sector. If it drops, it's probably a buy at 12 at this point, and if it drops more, it's even more of a buy. But fantastic run, 14, then 18/19. So really, really good stock there that you own. Well done holding that. Okay, let's look at Hecla. So Hecla, nice little support here, and then obviously it bounced like all the others. Bounce quickly. Hecla is one of the ones that really moves quickly when silver moves. So all the way up it goes to this zone. You can see I mentioned I wasn't sure whether it's 480 or whether it's 5, so I kind of put it in the middle. And to be honest, that's pretty much, you can tell. Look at the resistance here. Hit it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then bounced off support there. So the line is pretty much perfect, roughly speaking. So now it started to move up more, which makes sense with the sector, and it closed above the descending. So very strong continuation. So if it can just keep going, which it should, next resistance, to be honest, for me is here. What level was that? 620. Maybe $6 just for the psychological reasons, but really 620. Forget $6. It could just keep going and then start to find resistance between 6 and 620. And then, yeah, if it keeps going, then it's 7, then maybe 750, and then 950. Boom. That's when the squeeze is on. And this one also will move with the squeeze. Of course, Hecla is one of the top names in the silver sector. I just don't feel like it moves as crazy, but it's I don't know, top 5. I'm not the best to judge, but Hecla's been there for like a decade. I've always known of that name. Okay, B2 Gold, another request. So this one, big drop like all the others. Now it's sort of basing, but it's coming out of its base. You really need to close above 350. But you're there. I mean, it's pretty much, look at that nice move up there on that day. That's what it really needed to go back to its old zone. And now it's starting to test the absolute recent high of the last couple of weeks, months. So once we close above 350, honestly, I can see it going all the way to 4. That's the high of this zone, 380. And also it may start to encounter this descending. Let's just adjust it a bit. So just looking on the upside, I think this position, this is the next real move. So close above 350, 347, should do that on Monday. Then we start to march to 380, which is not asking that much, right? I mean, from where we are now, that's, 10% move. Yeah, 10% move is pretty good. And then you're going to hit this descending resistance. So between this horizontal and the descending resistance, how long does it take? Bam, you start to find a bit of resistance here. And then once you can actually curl and go back up, right? So imagine it starts to move, not in a straight line, whatever. Hits this, big drops, then it goes sideways, and then bam, it starts to close above. And then you can start to move above and go to the 440 zone, maybe. I don't know whether it be 430 or 440, let's just say between both as a very rough guide. And then you can start hitting the 5s and higher. That's the way I see it for B2 Gold. Next one on the way up. Now this one, wow, I used to cover this stock a while ago because it just made the headlines and some people that I was following or something. And then I kept watching it and noticed that it's just coming down, down, down. I stopped caring about it. But actually, I saw it a few weeks ago and I thought, wow, that's really cheap. And then a subscriber brought it to my attention again. And then I was like, wow, that's real cheap. Now, I believe it's platinum and palladium related also. It's not just, traditional monetary metals. But any stock like that, which is metals related, gets my attention. And I added, the day I heard of this, I added this descending line. You can see how beautiful it looks. Here I'm zoomed in and you can see how it's coiled. It's looking for that little close above. And when I zoom out, I love this. I love it. It's ideal. And look, if commodities are going to go up, if you think the dollar's going to go down, if you think all commodities, let alone metals, are going to go up, then this is the kind of stock that may grab your attention. And the day it was brought to my attention, it was on the Thursday. And then the next day it goes up, and here we are 4.5% higher, which is nothing. It's the same price. Because if this starts to move just to its old highs, I mean, look at that, that's 100%. That's 100% right there. And it's still massively undervalued. And, that you could just have a fraud company pop this much and trickle back down. I just feel like a close above this descending, a lot of machines are going to figure it out. There's also a gap to fill, which is going to happen. And once you do that, you're probably testing the descending line. So I may just go out and buy this on Monday, actually. A starter position. I don't really want to create a massive position again in a whole new stock, but I have to buy this. This looks really good. And, then you have to start. I'm going to probably start covering platinum and palladium just for this stock. A lot of people who follow the metals, let's say copper, gold, silver, usually review platinum and palladium anyway. I might just join them because it's like, it's the same thing. It's a commodity. I might as well cover it actually. So yeah, where do I see the next resistance? I really haven't even thought about that. I'm just thinking about buying some first, but I guess 7, right? Can you see that little support zone here? Sorry, where am I looking? I change it. 7. There's quite a few actually. 8. Can you see that there? Support there, and then it tests it there and fails. So 7, 8, 7, 8, and then after that maybe 10. Yeah, big round number. After that 12. I'm not going to cover it too much in terms of resistance because I think subscriber wants to buy it, will probably want to hold it for some time, and I don't think it's going to pop immediately. But I would say First top 7, then 8, then 10, then 12. But I wouldn't be selling anything below. I wouldn't be selling 6, even though that's tiny support. No. I need to buy this. I need to answer on this. So you may see this. I may cover this as an actual holding next week. Anyway, let me leave it there. Big video, but it's a very, very big moment for the metals. So I hope you appreciate that. If you want me to cover any particular stocks, please let me know. Let me know how you think of the video. Like it, subscribe, share, all that stuff, please, because it does further encourage me to do these videos. Otherwise, enjoy. Next week should be extra fun. And we are having our time in the sun right now. So despite it being winter, enjoy the weekend.